Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be showcasing one of the fan favorite meta defining champions that I have yet to showcase on my channel, and that is Human Torch, courtesy to Tanserbedanza. Before we get any further, if you do wish to submit your own gameplay to my channel, then the perfect way to do that, is through Evizone. If you click on the link in the pinned comment or in the video description below, all you need to do is tap on try it for free, enter your username or whatever name you want as your company name and your email, and an account will be created for you with a direct chat with me. And Evizone is perfect for reaching out to me, one of the most effective ways how to communicate with me, and it's also perfect, safe, secure messaging and data transfer option. It's primarily designed for businesses, so if you do have an interest in changing your business communication application, be sure to contact them. They're an amazing company, but it works perfect for content creators such as myself to do large amount of data transfers very quickly and easily, keep them organized, so on and so forth. So definitely check out Evizone. Now to the gameplay itself. So we are going to start fairly slow, and that is just to showcase a basic fight where you have activated the pre-fight, but you don't really get any energy attacks really, and that's going to be Realm of Legends Captain Malphite. Now you do get the energy level 1, but again, that's a very slow and kind of a tedious way how to gain those extra smolders, but we do have pre-fight active. So this is just to showcase Human Torch, obviously in less than an ideal scenario, because I do think it's also important to show some of the champions, perhaps weaker matchups or weaker fights. Obviously there are worse fights for Human Torch out there. However, this is going to give us a decent level of his base damage, what he does if you do not get to inflict, if you do not get a ton of smolders, so on and so forth. And with 3 smolders, we can see that he's ticking away for like 200 and some typically there, depending on temperature as well, I believe. And obviously power things here do come in play as well, and they do help him out here. He blocks a level 1 that lets him get another smolder. He's going to go for level 3, which is one of the ways how you can gain smolders in any fight. Obviously it's fairly slow comparatively speaking, but at 7 smolders obviously the damage already is increased by a decent margin. And here you just kind of need to keep an eye out to keep your temperature high, and with that, if you do keep your temperature high, obviously the duration of your incinerates do increase by that. And here's kind of like just a basic fight, but we do have much more interesting things coming. Before I get to the most important things, I suppose, now let's take a look at the opposite end of the spectrum. We're going to use a Mystic Champion, and he's going to build up all the way to 99 smolders. So you can see the damage difference there and how much each incinerate is going to hit there. So you can actually do this fight completely avoiding hitting Juggernaut. You can just block a ton and then get hit a couple of times. Juggernaut's going to end up killing himself if you do it well enough. But here we can see that each tick is like 2,700 or 2,400. It's kind of hard to tell there, but you can see 6 of them on that Juggernaut absolutely melted basically with a single combo. So when you are at 90 some, so let's see how much. So we had 6 hits, I believe. So here we are, 34% health. So 34% health, so he did like, and those 34% health also represent like nearly about 200,000 HP. So that's an impressive amount of damage. Now a little bit of paradox fun, because this paradox node improve the potency of your debuffs. And when you do get to enjoy that, obviously fun things happen, even if the matchup isn't perfect. Although this again, Joe fixed it, no real energy attacks there, so you're not going to be able to build many smolders besides the 2 that you start with. But we can see that he has 11 paradox charges, and immediately with that, the Joe Fixit is indeed going to melt, especially because he nailed in an intercept, so he got 200% increase in fury, and you can just watch that entire health pool drain away. Now, this was already quite cool, and again, he's on point with his intercept there, and couple of incinerates, even without building up temperature or anything of the sort, are absolutely draining away that Joe Fixit. But now let's take a look at Dr. Wudu. And Dr. Wudu obviously is Mystic Champion, which is a champion that Human Torch is designed to fight against. Gains Smolder every time, every time he takes a hit or takes a hit on a block as well. And with that, your smolders increase, your temperature increase. Now, Nova Flames are active. Unfortunately, Nova Flames are actually something you don't want in this situation, because they do not benefit from Paradox debuff potency, I believe. They're passives. And now another quick fight here against Invisible Woman. But then we have the best bits to show for you guys. We're going to have Abyss Iron Man Infinity War solo and also a Kang fight solo. So this isn't going to be a longest showcase. However, I do think that those fights kind of elevate the showcase in itself, because obviously getting an Iron Man Infinity War solo and Abyss of Legends, you know, always neat, nice, worthwhile watch, I would say. And then obviously Kang solo is awesome. Now, again, you have to be careful when you want to rely on Human Torch's ability to bypass the invisibility. You need to be at least at 15 temperature or more. And here he also has to build up his Paradox charges. So that is, again, something that he does need to do. But as soon as he will have done that and then gotten that intercept, obviously we're going to see the damage pretty much skyrocket. Now, additional thing that he can do in this fight is block special attacks if he chooses to do so, because that way, obviously, he will get smolders, because Invisible Woman does have energy damage on special attacks. So here we are. He has 4 smolders, 10 Paradox charges, and we can already see that those incinerates do quite an impressive amount of damage. And again, this isn't necessarily like a perfect matchup for Human Torch, just like that Joe Fixit wasn't one. But Invisible Woman goes down quite quickly nonetheless. Right, let's jump to that Abyss Infinity War solo. Let's see how long it takes, how many fights. So the entire video duration here is about 5 minutes. I will probably skip like the middle part just to showcase it initially. And, you know, there are some difficulties in this fight as well. This isn't like necessarily straightforward fight, because you will effectively not be able to use your special attacks and benefit from it. However, Human Torch doesn't particularly care about special attacks in majority of the cases. Typically, if you do throw a special attack, then that is a level 2 to stun the opponent and just get a neat window to kind of build up your temperature and inflict some more of your incinerates on Nova Flames. So he is also using Mr. Fantastic pre-fights here, just to help him out, especially initially, even though I don't particularly think it's necessary, and they are probably going to fall off at some point if, you know, the fight doesn't go perfectly. However, this has been the, let's say, quote-unquote, the worst phase of the fight, so to speak, because Human Torch, you know, inevitably is a ramp-up champion. He does ramp up every fight. The longer the fight is, the higher his damage potential, because the more smolders you can get, the more damage you can do. So it might necessarily seem like, you know, Star-Lord type of damage increase, because there you can visibly see those yellow numbers getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But a lot of people fail to realize that Human Torch is by definition a ramp-up champion in these fights, in these matchups where he is good in. And obviously, just because he does start with a fairly good base amount of damage does make him ever so much more viable. Now, here, at this point, we can see that Mr. Fantastic pre-fights have fallen off, which unfortunately, you know, happens relatively early on. However, at this point, Iron Man is already at 80% health. Side note here, if you are using Human Torch against Abyss Infinity War, it is very important, it is very, very, very important not to screw up that ending in those last 15%. Because the last 15% is kind of very fiddly, and here he does make a mistake. But because of this mistake, and because of the fact that here at this point he's already only at 34%, and he has still so much of that Iron Man to do, I think this solo kind of becomes even a bit more impressive. You know, typically if I was trying to record a solo at this point, would have been the point where I press quit and just start over, because, you know, Iron Man Infinity War was still at 70%, you're down to 30%, and, you know, you messed up, it doesn't look great. Or the fact that this fight does continue and he carries on, I think is the best part of it. You know, just assuming that he did not make that one mistake, he would have saved himself like 60% health, and he at this point would be at like 70-80% health here, easily outpacing that Abyss Infinity War. But it just comes to show that even a low health Human Torch can put in so much more work against this guy in even kind of like, you know, difficult conditions such as Abyss, where he can evade, where, you know, he does have that armor up, at extra armor up at all times, where he will 100% gain power when he's down, you know, at 15% throughout the entire fight. And in a fight where you can't use your special attacks, and he gets extra power every 10 hits. So it just shows that, yeah, Human Torch is just that damn good in the matchups where he does work. He's definitely one of those champions that, again, took a while for me to kind of warm up to, because there was a time when he came out when Human Torch wasn't looked at as the beast of a science champion that he is right now. Right now, I would even argue that he's the best science champion in the game, because of how dominant he is in the matchups that he is good in. And that is by far more important in today's game than how good you are in mediocre or bad matchups. So, you know, one can definitely say that my own perspective perhaps on, you know, evaluating champions has changed, partially also because of Human Torch and his story, where he came into the game with, you know, not much hype, not much love, and eventually, you know, ended up being pretty much the most banned champion in Alliance Wars, just because he completely destroys such a large amount of champions. But here we are, last 24%, 62 smolders. This is the exciting bit, because as soon as Iron Man Infinity War hits the 15% mark, that's when the game is on. However, at this point, every time Human Torch lands a hit, he deals like a ton of damage, because each of those incinerates are ticking for like, what, 1700 there? So you can see that he will struggle getting in hits. Iron Man Infinity War will block and block a lot and gain a ton of power. You can see he's exactly at 8% health here at this point, at 7, and that one heavy attack and those two incinerates are doing already, you know, actual visible percent of damage. You know, by the time they expire, they have done like 3% of the damage in 2 hits. That's a whole lot of damage. And here he again applies 3 incinerates, and that's going to be pretty much to get those last 3% off. So by the end of this fight, the damage is absolutely insane. And now, why not? I didn't post the Human Torch Kang solo previously on my channel. I did the solo of Ultron myself for my showcase, for my guide. So let's see how he does against Kang. So this fight is a bit long, so it does. I don't think he necessarily gets everything down in one go, but that's also partially probably because he does not use Odin's pre-fights. Odin's pre-fights would be quite helpful in this fight. So it's actually been a bit of a time since I have done this fight, so I kind of need to remind me of the rules, what he can and can't do here. But everything's fine. He's at 4 away charges here. And here, initially, I would perhaps even recommend blocking the level 1 beams on purpose, getting those debuffs on you, but most importantly, getting those extra smolders placed on you. So here he is, you know, at this point in a fight, I think that's kind of important that in first phase, if you do want to get in a solo with Human Torch, that you do kind of take more hits on your block. You can see that he amps up his temperature, obviously with 9-10 Nova Flames. That Kang is still taking significant amount of damage, but we can see that it's likely not going to be enough to finish off the fight immediately. But we can definitely see that health bar dropping very, very quickly. And here at this point, the wounded phase has expired. He needs to gain more charges here. He does nail his evades on point though. Definitely do need to give him compliment for that. Back up at 3 charges already. And let's see. Let's see. So I'm going to fast forward to the end of the next phase here, because we already saw the build up here. So here he's at 10 to finish off the first phase. And at this point, when he has 23 smolders active, I do believe that he can probably nuke down the rest of the phases in one go, most likely. So let's quickly fast forward here. This is the second phase. And he's still carrying on to build up his smolders. Let's just get in a bit further here, where he builds up. 7. Here we go. Let's finish it off from this point. He has 8, counterattacks, 9 counterattacks, or slipstream charges, or whatever they're called. And here he goes. He got his 10 charge. So he's just going to go and hit that Kang with his 31 smolders active. And at this point, obviously, he already starts doing a ton of damage. He goes for level 3, because why not? It does not, take up any time in that fight. He does get a couple additional smolder charges. And yeah, this time around, Kang is going down even quicker. You can genuinely see his health will disappear by the time that wounded state expires. So now we are on phase 3. This is a bit harder. A little bit of a mess up here, but he again is, taking a bit of damage. It is going to be a bit of a close one, but he's at 9 slipstream charges here. And let's see now how his damage improves here. So he does get in the 10th slipstream charge. He does need to wait this level 1. Goes into Punish Kang. Perfect. Wounded state activated. And he again goes for level 3. Just for that extra bit of damage. Why not? A few percent still counts. And again, it's kind of like a free damage because it doesn't take any time off. And yeah, we have 18, 17 Nova Flames active here. And with that amount of Nova Flames, obviously Kang has absolutely no choice. But if this was enjoyable, then let's fast forward to the final phase where he has already 49, 50 smolders. 7 counterpunch, 9 counterpunch, and now let's check out those numbers. There's 52 smolders. He just needs to go in, start bashing him, and here we are. He goes for level 3. It was fairly close finish, 15%, but 15% is more than enough to survive. It doesn't matter ultimately whether you finish quest with 100% or 15% health. And here we are again, like your 15, 16, 17 Nova Flames, and that Kang is just dead. Definitely one of the best options for the Kang fight, especially if you're relatively comfortable with it, because again, it is a ramp up. Okay, so here we are. That is it for this showcase. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back with more shortly. Again, if you do want to submit your own showcases, definitely check out Evizone. Absolutely awesome, amazing way how to send in your submissions for these rank 4 champion showcases. And with that, I will be back soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about